When my daughter-in-law told me to leave, I smiled instead of crying. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the kind of smile that comes when you finally see the truth, clear and sharp, after years of looking at everything through a fog of your own hope. She stood in the doorway of what I still called, in my heart, my kitchen. Her arms were crossed. The words were simple. "Mom, I think it's time you had your own space again." I just nodded, and I smiled. All I could think in that moment was, I have nowhere to go. But my mouth wouldn't say it. My pride, the little that I'd left, stretched my lips into this thin, quiet line. I looked past her shoulder, into the living room where my husband, David, was sitting. He was pretending to read the newspaper. His head was down. He didn't look up. He didn't come to my defense. He didn't say, "This is her home, too." He just turned the page. That was the moment I truly understood. After 42 years of marriage, after all the sacrifices, big and small, silent and loud, I had become a ghost in my own family, a polite, helpful ghost that was now in the way. And the hardest part, the deepest cut, it wasn't my daughter-in-law's words. It was my husband's silence, his choice to look past me, to turn that page. This is the story of how I got to that doorway. It's not a story of loud fights or cruel words. It's a story of quiet erosion, of love that slowly turned into habit, and then into duty, and then into nothing more than furniture you learn to walk around. My name is Clara. I'm 67 years old. For most of my life, I defined myself by the people I took care of. David's wife, Mark's mother. Now I was just
Mom, Grandma.
the one who picks up the toys and does the washing up. It wasn't always like this.
Oh no.
When David and I were young, the world was full of color. We met in a little library where I used to work part-time. He was an engineering student, all serious glasses and focused frowns. He came in, looking for a book on structural physics. I found it for him. He said I had a kind smile. That was it. That was the beginning. We built a life. A simple one. He worked long hours, climbing the ladder at his firm. I worked too, as a secretary, but when our son Mark came along, we decided I would stay home. It made sense. David's salary was growing. My job was just a job. So I quit. I packed away my nice blouses and settled into soft sweaters and jeans. I don't say this with bitterness. I loved being a mother. Truly. The feel of Mark's small hand in mine, the smell of his hair after a bath, the quiet hum of the house during his nap time. I found joy in baking his birthday cakes, in sewing the torn knee of his school trousers, in listening to his little stories. David was busy, often coming home after Mark was asleep. But on Sundays were ours. We'd go for drives, have a roast dinner. It felt like a team, a unit. We were saving for a bigger house, for Mark's future. So my little sacrifices began there. I stopped getting my hair done at the salon. I learned to cut it myself. I stopped buying new books and went back to the library where we'd met. I made meals stretch. I never complained. I saw it as building something. We were a fortress, David and I, building walls around our family. Mark grew up. He was a good boy. He became a good man. He met Elena. Elena is strong. She has a career. She speaks her mind. When they got engaged, I was so happy. My boy had found his person. I welcomed her with open arms. I wanted to be the mother-in-law I never had, helpful, not interfering. A support, not a burden. Then the baby came. Our beautiful grandson, Leo. And Elena's maternity leave was short. She wanted to go back to work. They were struggling with childcare costs. One evening, David said, "They've asked us something." We were having tea in our quiet living room. The house felt too big, just for the two of us. "Oh," I said, my heart lifting. I miss the sound of a child. They want to know if we'd consider moving in with them, to help with Leo, to save them the nursery fees. They have that big annex, the granny flat above the garage. It's self-contained. I put my cup down. "Move? Leave our home. It's just a house, Clara," David said, not looking at me. "Think of the money we'd save, too. We could sell this place, put it away for our retirement, and we'd be right there for Leo every day. The idea of leaving the home where we'd raised Mark, it hurt. The walls held our memories. But I looked at David's face. He had already decided. He saw it as a practical financial win. And he saw the light in my eyes when I talked about Leo. It would be wonderful to see him grow up, I said softly. It's settled then, David said, picking up his newspaper. The conversation was over. So we sold our fortress. We packed up 40 years of life into boxes. I cried in the empty bedroom where Mark had taken his first steps. David patted my shoulder. It's just bricks and mortar, love. Family is what matters. I believed him. The move was smooth. The annex was love.
Modern.
A small kitchenette, a sitting room, a bedroom, a nice bathroom. It was clean and new. It didn't have the creaky floorboards I knew by heart. It didn't have the stain on the ceiling from that long-ago leak. It was silent. It felt like a very nice hotel. The plan was simple. I would help with Leo during the day. David would handle some small repairs around their house, manage the garden. We'd have our own space, but be close. At first, it was a dream. Leo's gummy smiles. The smell of baby powder. The weight of him sleeping on my chest. I felt useful. Needed. Elena was grateful. I don't know what we'd do without you, Mom, she'd say, rushing out the door in her smart coat. David seemed content. He tinkered in the garden shed. He read. He watched television in our annex. But slowly, the lines began to blur. It started with meals. Mom, would you mind just making enough for all of us tonight? It's so much easier than me cooking after work. Of course I didn't mind. I loved cooking for my family. Then it was, Mom, could you just pop this load of washing on? Then, Mom, the cleaner canceled. Could you give the downstairs a quick once-over? I'll pay you back. I wasn't just helping with Leo. I was running their household. My small kitchenette was never used. I was in their big kitchen every day, cooking, cleaning, tidying. My back ached. My own little sitting room gathered dust because I was never in it. David didn't seem to notice. He'd come into their house for dinner, eat the meal I'd cooked, and then say, I'm off back to the flat, dear. Got a program to watch. He'd leave me with the mountain of dishes. Elena would be on her laptop, finishing work. Mark would be bathing Leo. One night, I was scrubbing a pot. My hands were in soapy water. I looked at David's empty chair. A small, cold feeling settled in my stomach. I tried to talk to him. In our annex, later. David, I'm very tired. This is more than just minding Leo. He looked up from his news. But you love it, Clara. You love being with him. And it's helping the kids. We have to pull our weight. Pull our weight. The word stung. As if our presence was a debt to be paid. I do love it, I said. But it's every day. All day. And the housework, too. It's like having a full-time job again. Well, talk to Elena, he said, his eyes drifting back to the paper. I'm sure she doesn't mean to take advantage, but I couldn't talk to Elena. She was so busy.
So stressed.
And she called me Mom. How could I say no to my family? The guilt was a heavy coat I wore every day. The small tensions became a language of their own. The way Elena would rearrange the plates I'd set on the table. The way she'd buy different cleaning products, implying mine weren't good enough. The way she'd talk to Leo in a bright voice, let's go see Grandma. And then her voice would drop to normal, flat, when she spoke to me. He needs a nap by 1, Mom. David became a master of disappearing. He'd take long walks when he sensed chores needed doing. He'd be fixing something in the garage for hours. We stopped being a couple in their eyes. We were just the grandparents. A useful resource. One afternoon, Leo was teething and crying. I'd been walking him for what felt like hours. My arms were on fire. Elena came home early. She took Leo from me, her face tight. He feels hot, Mom. Did you check his temperature? He was just fussy. I thought it was his teeth. You have to be more vigilant, she said, turning away from me.
It was a slap.
A quiet, verbal slap. I went back to the annex. David was there reading. Everything all right? He asked, not looking up. Leo might have a fever. Elena's upset with me. She's just worried about the baby, he said. Don't take it personally. But it was all personal. My whole life had become personal, and I was failing at it. That night, in our small, quiet bed, I lay awake. David was asleep, his back to me. I stared at the unfamiliar ceiling. I miss my old home. I miss my old life. I miss the man who would have put his arm around me and said, "You're doing a wonderful job." That man seemed to have stayed behind in the house we sold. The big argument, when it came, wasn't big at all. It was tiny, a pebble, but it started the landslide. It was a rainy Thursday. I'd had a terrible headache all day. Leo was energetic, refusing to nap. The washing machine had flooded their utility room. I'd spent an hour on my knees mopping it up. I was exhausted. I'd made a simple shepherd's pie for dinner. Comfort food. We were all at the table. Mark, Elena, David, me. Leo was in his high chair. Elena took one bite and put her fork down. "It's a bit salty for Leo, Mum," she said. "And he shouldn't have minced beef this fatty." My head throbbed. I mashed up his portion separately, with less gravy. "It's the same mince we always use." "We're trying to be more mindful of his nutrition," Elena said, her voice cool. She got up and started making Leo a piece of dry toast and avocado. I felt my face grow hot. I looked at Mark. He was looking at his plate, eating quietly. I looked at David. He was cutting his food carefully, as if performing surgery. "I'm sorry," I said, my voice small. "I didn't know." "It's fine," Elena said, not turning from the counter. "Just for future reference." Silence fell over the table. The only sounds were the rain on the window and the click of the knife on David's plate. Then David spoke.
He didn't look at me.
He looked at Elena's back. "Elena's right, Clara. We have to keep up with the new guidelines. For Leo's sake." Something inside me broke. Quietly, like a thread snapping.
We,
he said. "We have to keep up. Not you."
We.
But where was his "we" when he was watching television while I mopped the floor? Where was his "we" when I was walking a crying baby for hours? His "we" only appeared to correct me, to side with them against me. I stood up. My chair scraped on the floor. "I'm not feeling well," I whispered. "I'm going to lie down." No one stopped me. No one said, "Are you all right, Mum?" David just said, "All right, dear. Leave the dishes." I didn't go to the annex. I walked out the front door into the rain. I had no coat. I just walked around the block, the cold rain mixing with the hot tears on my face. I was a ghost. A servant who cooked the wrong food. An employee who needed correction. When I came back, soaking wet, the house was quiet. They were in the living room, watching TV. David was back in the annex. I went up to our room. He was already in bed, reading. "You'll catch a cold," was all he said. That was the turning point. Not the salty shepherd's pie. It was David's "we." In that moment, I saw the map of my future. It was a long, gray road of more service, more correction, more invisibility. With my own husband a bystander. A stranger who shared my bed. A few weeks passed.
The chill in the air didn't leave.
I did my duties, but my heart wasn't in it. I was going through the motions. David seemed relieved I wasn't complaining anymore. Then one Saturday, the key event happened. The one that led to the doorway. I needed to find some old photo albums for Leo. I thought they might be in a box in the main house's attic. Elena and Mark were out shopping. David was at the hardware store. I climbed up into the attic. It was dusty, full of their things. I found the box with our old pictures. As I was turning to leave, my foot caught on a large portfolio leaning against a beam. It fell over, spilling its contents. It was architectural drawings. David's drawings. He hadn't done professional work in years. I bent to gather them up, curious. And then I froze. They were plans. Detailed, beautiful plans. For a house. Not just any house. A bungalow. A perfect, accessible, modern bungalow by the sea. We'd sometimes talked, dreamily, about one day living by the water. But it was a distant one day, a retirement fantasy. I flipped the pages. There were cost estimates, land surveys for a specific coastal town.
Dates.
The most recent date was from just 3 months ago. He was planning this, secretly,
Without me.
my heart hammered. Was this a surprise? A gift? Was he planning to take me away from here, to give us our own space again? A thrill of hope, wild and desperate, shot through me. Then I saw the last page. It was a handwritten list, not part of the formal plans. A pros and cons list. Pros, peace.
Quiet.
Proximity to good hospital. Fishing. Lower cost of living. Investment property potential. Cons. Distance from Leo. Uprooting Clara from family support. Her attachment to the annex. Solution. Discuss as my retirement plan. Frame it as my need. For my health. She will follow. The words blurred. She will follow. This wasn't a dream we shared. This was his retirement plan. For his peace. For his fishing. I was a con. An attachment to be uprooted. A problem to be solved by framing it a certain way. She will follow. I sat down in the dust, the papers in my lap. The last tiny flame of hope guttered and went out. He wasn't my partner. He was my manager. And he was planning the next phase of our logistics, where my role was to follow quietly. I heard the garage door open. They were back. Carefully, with trembling hands, I put everything back exactly as it was. I took my photo album box and climbed down. I felt numb. That evening, I watched him. He talked about the weather, about a documentary he wanted to watch. He was a stranger, a polite, familiar stranger living in my annex. The next morning, Elena asked to speak with me. In the kitchen, David was in the garden, and she said the words, "Mom, I think it's time you had your own space again." And I knew David had spoken to them. He'd begun his campaign, framing it, his need. They decided, together, that the annex was needed for something else. Maybe a home office, maybe a playroom, and I was the obstacle. And David sat in the next room, turning the page of his newspaper, choosing not to look at me, choosing his peace, his plan. After all my sacrifices, my husband looked right past me. I didn't cry in front of her. I just smiled that empty smile and said, "Of course. I understand." I went back to the annex. David came in an hour later. He didn't mention it. He made himself a cup of tea. Elena spoke with me. I said, my voice strangely calm. "Oh," he said, stirring his tea. "She said it's time we had our own space."
He nodded, still not looking at me.
"Yes, she mentioned it to me. They're thinking of turning this into a proper office for Mark. He needs the quiet. It makes sense." "And where are we to go?" I asked.
He finally looked at me.
He had his kind, reasonable face on, the one he used for difficult clients. "Well, I've actually been giving that some thought. I've been looking at properties, bungalows,
By the sea. For my knees, you know?
and the quiet. I think you'd like it." There it was. His need. His knees. Framed. I didn't mention the drawings in the attic. What would be the point? I just looked at him. I looked at the man I'd shared a bed with for 42 years. I looked past the wrinkles, past the gray hair, and I tried to find the boy from the library. He was gone. All that was left was this polite planner. "I'm not going," I said. It came out quiet, but clear. He blinked. "What do you mean?" "I am not moving to a bungalow by the sea. You can go." He was stunned. This was not in his plan. "Clara, be reasonable. Where will you live? We can't afford 2 places." "I will find a place," I said. "A small flat.
Here in town.
Near the library. Near the shops. Near my friends." I hadn't seen my friends in months. I'd been too busy. But, "We're married," he said, flustered. "Are we?" I asked. And I didn't say it with anger. It was a real question. "Are we partners, David? Or have I just been staff?" He had no answer. He just stood there, his cup of tea cooling in his hand. The next few weeks were a quiet, painful unraveling. I told Mark and Elena I was getting a small flat of my own, that I needed my independence back. They were surprised, a little hurt, but also, I saw a flicker of relief in Elena's eyes. They offered to help me look. I let them. It felt like a strange, final duty. David was confused. He tried, in his way, to argue. This is silly, Clara. We're a family. But the words had no weight anymore. He had shown me who we were. I found a little flat, a one-bedroom, in a modest block. It had a balcony that caught the morning sun. It was 10 minutes from the library. It was mine. The day I moved my boxes in, David came to help. He moved mechanically, silent. When the last box was inside, he stood in the middle of the empty living room. "So this is it?" he asked.
This is it, I said.
"You're really doing this?" "I am."
He looked old then, and lost.
He wasn't a villain. He was just a man who had stopped seeing his wife a long time ago and had grown comfortable with the blindness. I'll go ahead with the bungalow plan then," he said. "For my retirement." "I hope it brings you peace, David," I said.
And I meant it. He left. He didn't try to hug me.
He just closed the door softly behind him. I sat on the floor, surrounded by boxes, in the silence of my own space. And for the first time in years, the silence didn't feel lonely. It felt like a breath I'd been holding for a decade, finally let out. The grief came in waves, not just for him, but for the life I thought we had, for the team I believed we were. I cried for the woman who had slowly erased herself, thinking it was love. I cried for all the words I never said. But with the grief came something else, a tiny, fragile sense of self. Clara, not just someone's wife, someone's mom, someone's grandma. Just Clara. It's been 6 months now. My flat is a home. There are photos of Mark and Leo everywhere. But there is also a new plant I'm learning to care for. There are books from the library scattered on the table. Books I want to read. I joined a gentle yoga class. I have coffee some mornings with a lady from down the hall. I see Leo twice a week. It's different now. I am grandma who visits, who brings stories and cookies and undivided attention. I am not the tired woman in the background, washing up. Our time is precious and full of joy. My relationship with Elena is better, clearer. There are boundaries now. Respect. David moved to his bungalow by the sea. He calls sometimes. He talks about the fishing, the garden, the quiet. He sounds content. He asks how I am. We are polite, like distant cousins. The paperwork for a divorce is slow, but it's moving. There's no anger in it. Just a sad, formal acknowledgement of a truth we both lived with for too long. Sometimes, in the deep quiet of the night, I miss the old dream. The dream of growing old together, hand in hand. The dream of being a team until the very end. The loneliness touches me then, a cold spot on my heart. But in the morning, when the sun comes through my balcony door and falls on my own chair, with my own book, I feel something else. I feel free. I gave so much of myself away, thinking it was the glue that held everything together. But you can't be the glue if you're also the foundation. And when the foundation crumbles, everything falls. The lesson I learned, too late and yet just in time, is this: love is not silent erosion. Love is not becoming furniture. Love should be a mirror where you see yourself reflected back, valued, seen, cherished. If you look at your partner and you feel invisible, you already are. And no amount of sacrifice will make you seen again. My husband looked past me for years. And in the end, I had to step out of his line of sight to finally see myself. So, if you are in the background of your own life, if you are smiling that quiet, empty smile, please look up. Find your voice, even if it shakes. Say what you need. It is not selfish to want to be seen. It is the most basic human need of all. My story isn't a tragedy. It's a reawakening. It's quiet. It's small. It's mine. And for the first time in a long, long time, that is enough.